maybe Martin Truex or Eric Jones gets involved. But if it's someone other than the JGR quad, I would be very surprised coming up on Sunday.
Well, we'll absolutely see what happens there. Matthew, we appreciate you joining us. Where can people find your work and your masterpieces, sir?
MATTEMBURY, and don't forget 96.1 FM WSBT. Game 1 of the Eastern Division Championship. South Bend Cubs are in action. Best of 3. Game 1 is tonight. First pitch is at 7 o'clock, and we'll see if South Bend can get closer to possibly bringing home a title, something they haven't done for baseball in several years.
Well, thanks for joining us on your birthday. Happy birthday. Hope you have a great one.
Thanks, Tom.
Matthew Embury, our official IndyCar contributor from WSBT up in South Bend. And as we're talking, getting ready for Laguna next the week. I don't know why I keep saying next week, the week after next. But I tell you what, NASCAR is in town. It's the Brickyard 400 Xfinity race today. And to help us break it down is Tony Donahue from the Tony D podcast coming up next, right around the bend.
Tonight.
The Air National Guard is a reserve component of the United States Air Force and serves alongside active duty Air Force members in times of a national crisis. In addition, the Air Guard serves the state and local community in a wide range of capacities. The reason people join the Air Guard is as diverse as our members and includes such reasons as a deep desire to serve their country, money for college, travel, new job skills, and the pride that goes along with belonging to the greatest military organization in the world. I joined because I felt a calling to serve my country, but I didn't want to be far away from my family, so the Indiana Air National Guard was a perfect fit for me. With over 95 different career opportunities to choose from and 100% paid college tuition to any state-funded college, why not give us a call? Call 1-800-841-3103 or visit online at goang.com to find out more. Again, that's 1-800-841-3103. The Air National Guard, guarding America, defending freedom.
When you don't go to Geico.com, car insurance can be confusing. Like Swedish techno confusing.
Bark, bark, meow, meow. Dance with me, purple cow. Bark, bark, meow, meow. Ooh, you lovely cow.
Geico makes it easy. With 24/7 access, all you have to do is go to Geico.com and you can save money on car insurance. It just makes sense. Unlike, you know.
Dance with me, purple cow. I like your moves.
When you don't go to Geico.com, car insurance can be hard. Like early 90s heavy metal hard.
I'm yelling and screaming and I'm loud. Roar.
Geico makes it easy. You can review and update your policy or report a claim on Geico.com or the Geico mobile app. Because shouldn't we all have a little less stress in our lives?
I'm not even upset about anything.
Give me fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire. Ooh.
All right, welcome back to The Balance. Thank you, Matthew Embury, WSBT up in South Bend, our official IndyCar contributor, for jumping on board with us and talking some IndyCar. But we also talked a little bit about NASCAR, and that's what's going on here in our hometown, where the Balance is located, high atop the Balance Studios in the west suburbs of Indianapolis, just about a 10-minute drive at best from 16th and Georgetown, where the Brickyard and NASCAR and dirt track is all converging there, and helping us breaking it down now is Tony Donahue of the Tony D podcast. How are you, sir?
Pretty good, man. Good morning. How are you?
Fantastic. Welcome aboard. Did you have a chance to go out there and check out the dirt track yet?
Yeah, absolutely. So Wednesday and Thursday night, they had races out there. Wednesday was incredible. Wednesday, you pretty much had your qualifying races. Then they had what they call
I know.
race.
Yeah, and they had, you know, in that pursuit race, if you lose a spot, you're done. You're eliminated. So it's kind of like a bracket type racing, if you will. If you lose a spot, you gotta pull it into the infield. So when it's all said and done, there's about 15 to 20 cars sitting in the infield, and then the last lap, guys are flipping, spinning, and Kyle Larson, the NASCAR veteran, kept his foot on the throttle and ended up winning that race. And then the BC39 was pretty cool to see Zeb Wise, who's 16 years old and was handpicked by Brian Clausen to come and drive midgets and sprint cars, and for him to win that for Clausen Marshall Racing was something really cool and special to see. And obviously the team that was surrounded around Brian Clausen, who passed away, and the race was obviously named after him. He, you know, to have those three cars finish 1, 2, and 3 was something that was certainly something cool to see.
Yeah, absolutely. I enjoyed it, and I think this is in Doug Bowles and the Indianapolis Motor Speedway have done a great job of merging different things together at different events, and of course last night with Florida Georgia Line, but the bringing the dirt track to Indianapolis, I felt like was monumental, was history making, and I think a lot of people didn't really realize that it was anything more than just try to get butts in the seats. But after been hanging out there the last couple of days and seeing the crowd there and seeing that mixture between NASCAR and dirt track races, because we know that there's IndyCar fans, there's NASCAR fans, there's dirt track fans, but they're all a different cycle of fans. But to see them merge together, and you mentioned Kyle Larson, and it's not just Kyle Larson, and we talk about a lot of drivers. I mean, Connor Daly was out there. There's a lot of drivers that have IndyCar and NASCAR drivers that have that dirt track route. So I thought it was very cool to see. And if you've never been to a dirt track race, I go, because it's not turning, it's sliding, and you see more wrecks, more wrecks in the aspect. Of course, we know that Brian Clausen died, so we don't want to encourage wrecks, but you see more wrecks where there's nobody. I mean, we see people, cars go on upside down, they flip, they roll, but the drivers are okay. So it's fun from that aspect, but it really is a lot of fun. And you know, what's better than having dirt splashed in your face while you're watching a race, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think to your first point there, which is the fact that it's convenient because it's here and it's Brickyard Week, and you're going to get some drivers that are in Cup, like Kyle Larson and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. out there running. You know, J.J. Yaley, who was a staple in sprint cars for so long and has ran Cup for so long, was out there. Christopher Bell, who's an up-and-coming driver in the Xfinity Series. Chase Briscoe, who's got to win in the Xfinity Series. This takes all these drivers back to their roots and kind of where they started. And that was kind of all paved the way by Jeff Gordon, you know, 20, 25 years ago when he was running sprint cars and then took the step to NASCAR. Then the next guy was Tony Stewart, and they had so much success. So it kind of brings these guys back to their roots, and it's right inside the infield of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So what a better place. There's no better place in the world to be racing. And, you know, it means a lot to these drivers. Every driver that you know they talked to said it's so awesome to be inside the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and the track itself is so racy. We saw 4 wide, and like you said, you're sliding around, but I mean you could race all over that racetrack and have a fast car.
Oh, absolutely. It was a fun time. I really enjoyed it, and I'm so glad that they have brought that to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I was out there yesterday for the Xfinity practice. Let's break that race down as it happens today. And real quickly, let's get into tomorrow's race. You know, it's lost a lot of momentum, but I think they're in the process, and we were talking a little bit about this in the last segment, that they got to have that consistent date, but it's in the process. I think of making a turn to the other direction, which is good. NASCAR needs to be at Indianapolis, just like NASCAR needs to be at Daytona. Indy 500 obviously has to be at Indianapolis, just like it has to be at other tracks. Really exciting to see IndyCar go over to Richmond as well. But am looking forward to this weekend. I'm going to be headed out there right after the show. Of course, we've got cup practice and then the race this afternoon, and then I'll be out there tomorrow. But give us a quick peek in, because I know we got you for a limited amount of time today. So we're going to go ahead and just turn it over to you. Talk with us about the practice, qualifying today, and practice today, and qualifying and the cup race tomorrow.
Well, I think first and foremost, it's just good that it looks like the weather is going to cooperate. I know there's a chance for scattered storms tomorrow, but, a high of 74 today and a high of 74 tomorrow. I think the fans are going to get some relief. Now you're going to move it back to 4th of July next year, so you're not going to have that. And so what you're going to see today is the Xfinity race is very racy. You get caught in packs, and they've kind of slowed down the cars, but they brought them all together with this package for the Xfinity Series. So it should be very racy. We should see packs of cars. You can obviously start with Joe Gibbs Racing, they were fast yesterday. Christopher Bell, Brandon Jones, Kyle Busch, probably the 3 cars to beat. And I think you could say the same thing tomorrow for Joe Gibbs Racing. Denny Hamlin it was my pick going into the weekend. I actually talked to him last night, and he wasn't sure how confident they were going to be, knowing that this is such a track position race. So if you don't qualify well, or you have a bobble in qualifying, you go to the back, or, you lose spot. This is such a track position race that we're going to see a lot of gambling going on tomorrow as far as drivers taking 2 tires, drivers taking 4, who stays out, who doesn't stay out. So we're going to see what happens tomorrow. It should be interesting because you've got the drivers that are already locked in, as we know. Then you got guys like Jimmy Johnson, who is on the outside looking in, a must-win. Paul Menard, William Byron, Ryan Newman. There's some big names and some good teams that are fighting for that final playoff spot. And with the playoffs starting after the Brickyard tomorrow, you're going to see a lot of drivers dicing for position, trying to move up, trying to, roll the dice and gamble a little bit as far as getting the track position, getting those stage points late in the runs for the stages tomorrow. And I think that if you're up front tomorrow and you qualify up front, it's so important with qualifying tomorrow and not being able to practice after qualifications before the race. It's going to be important to qualify up front because it's a track position race, and you got to get on and off pit road as quickly as possible, because that's going to be the key to staying up front and keeping that track position.
Well, absolutely, and I'm looking forward to. Like I said, right after this show, I'm headed down there. So maybe I'll see you down there. But certainly, an exciting weekend. I look forward to seeing from being a fan of NASCAR. I look forward to the race, but I hope that NASCAR and IMS can figure this out to put more butts in the seat.
Yeah, I mean, you move dates, and there's going to. My questioning would be, I don't know if the 4th of July really is going to put butts in the seats, because it's a hot weekend, and that was the big concern of why they tried to move it out of the end of July last year, or 2 years ago, into September, like we've seen. We'll see. I mean, they're going to keep tweaking the packaging that these cars have, and it's the bottom line is you got to get back to better racing. You got to have the chance to have 7 to 10 people have a chance to win. And in the last couple of years, it's been either Kyle Busch, Brad Keselowski, and that's just the way it's gone. And you've got to be able to make that racing. You got to come here and test a little bit more. And you got to be able to spend money to have those testing. So we'll see. Maybe they move into the road course. Maybe they think about it. But if they can get the packages down, maybe they slow them down by 5 to 10 miles an hour, but it keeps the cars closer and it's easier to pass, and you have the ability to pass, it would make this a much better race. And then I think you'd get butts in the seats, because people want to go out there and see good racing, not follow the leader.
Absolutely right. I think that the road courses would be the follow the leader, but it would be something different. And I think one of the big things that Indianapolis has to address, and I understand the tradition, and we don't have time to get into it, but they got to bring lights to that. And I'm not for the Indy 500, but NASCAR under the lights would be a perfect scenario, though. Tony, I appreciate you joining us. You told me you had me for a few minutes, so I appreciate that. We'll get into college football here in just a minute, and I'll shoot you out a text when I get to the track. Maybe we can meet up.
Yep. All right, man. Enjoy the day, and should be pretty good weather out there.
All right. We'll see you soon.
See ya.
Tony Donahue of the Tony D podcast taking some time to join us and talk some NASCAR. Obviously, NASCAR in town this weekend. And, of course, we're talking about the dirt track as well. And joining us now is, well, we're not going to call him the biggest NASCAR fan, but we'll say, hey, at least he knows what a race car is. Rick Riggin, how are you, sir?
Pretty good. How you doing?
Hey, we got 15 minutes left in the